What's up, YouTube? Okay, so we got some questions you guys are asking me, and stuff is awesome. Golden milk. I got another variation of it. It's called dark chocolate protein. These are soy, dairy-free, low in sugar, dairy-free, soy, gluten, all that. Anyway, turmeric one is great. Only find it in select stores, and I just love the taste, and it also gives you quite a bit of turmeric. Great for inflammation and all that stuff. Okay, sorry, my neck hurts. I just got out of one of the most powerful massages I've ever had. Oh my god. I go to these places and I'm like, yeah, I need deep tissue, I need deep pressure, and I never feel anything. I finally found a guy that is absolutely incredible. Oh my god, I was like virtually screaming. I mean, I was dropping. He was like, it's okay if you need to drop F-bombs. And he told me, he said, oh shit, I missed my turn. Oh no. He said, sorry, trying to find a way to get back to where I need to go. He said that I was the tightest person he'd ever had. He's like, on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm an 11. I've been having this neck pain, which is largely associated with a lot of cell phone usage, and I think sleeping on my stomach, and then just chronic tension from stress. I used to carry my stress in my bladder and my pelvis, but I was able to eliminate that, and then it sort of had to find another place to manifest. So shoulders and neck areas. So yoga would definitely be good for that. Anyway, so am I on any medications now, currently? You guys want to ask me that. I don't like to answer it because I will answer the question with a couple, first of all, caveats. So, you don't know what anyone else's story is. So you hear me and what I'm taking, might think or that I had side effects or didn't like this thing. It might make you think, oh, I can't take that, or oh, I should be taking what he's taking. I'm not saying you will be like that, but I'm like that. I go online and I read all these great reviews or negative reviews, and it instantly turns me off. But you don't know that person's story. I mean, I could be going home, taking illicit drugs or something, I don't. I'm sober and all that, but but I'm just saying, you don't know what other people's stories are, so you can't base your experience off of them. So finding a really good doctor, and then combining that with some of your own research, but also developing a level of trust is important. So don't go and think that because of what I'm taking, that's what you need to take, or that, whatever, I'm a failure or whatever like that. So I was on Benzo's, Xanax for about 6 years, and it started off at 0.25 milligrams a day, or as needed. Eventually it became a daily thing, and I think I was taking, I don't know, I never really kept track. I didn't know what it was about. I just knew that it took me from, I was like fully functioning normal kid, but I had reached a point where my body could no longer, or my brain could no longer tolerate the stress that I had been under my whole life. I mean, finally I had that break, that panic attack, and the panic attack turned into more panic attacks. And I wish I had more knowledge back then about what they were and how to deal with them naturally. But it got so bad that I went from this fully functioning a crazy good work ethic, just graduated college, just doing so well, to completely unraveled. Didn't know what was happening, couldn't leave my bedroom. I gotta be real careful here trying to follow this little thumbnail on my map so I don't get lost. So then I ended up finally, after about a week or two of like hell and agoraphobia and depersonalization, probably, or borderline, just constant panic, man. I went to see a doctor. He threw me on some Xanax. Bam, brought back to life like instantly. If I had to change things, if I had to go back and change things, would I take a benzo? Probably. I probably would have taken it, but I probably would have taken it with knowing that I didn't want to be on it for long term. But I was, because I didn't know you weren't supposed to be. I was very ignorant of a lot of things back then. I'm definitely speeding right now, going 55 and a 35. I hope this isn't a cop behind me. Okay. Then you could watch me like get pulled over. That'd be cool. So yeah, I was on that stuff, low dose, never abused it, never wanted to, long time. Helped really well until one day my anxiety just got so bad. Like 6 years later, we upped the dose. I was taking like a milligram a day or something like that, maybe 1.5 some days. But my anxiety got like different. Like it was like intrusive thoughts. It was depersonalization. A lot of that had to do with, once again, extreme stress that happened, and I had to. I didn't have an outlet for it, and when I quit drinking alcohol, the outlet vanished. So there was a lot of mechanisms at play. And yes, I may have, reached tolerance with the benzo, but the benzo was a very small part of what was happening, and I sort of just always like had in my head that Xanax was supposed to be this like catch-all for all my problems, but I was experiencing I wasn't, it wasn't really panic. It was having that too, but it was a bunch of other stuff that was happening at the same time. And yeah, so the Xanax stopped working, I guess you could say. I didn't want to go up on it, so I decided to come off of it, because I felt I was like in the worst mental health of my life at that point. So doctor tried me on a couple things, but I just don't like side effects, so I couldn't really handle it. I'm very sensitive, so I just came to a conclusion I couldn't go that route after trial and error, failing to be able to tolerate it. I didn't try a lot of stuff. I think I tried Seroquel and then like an antidepressant, and that was about it. And I only stayed on it for 1 day, maybe 2 days on the Zoloft. And then I went to Benzo Buddies, man, and then Benzo Buddies just like ruined my life for a long time. But and then I found out what I was having. I was having depersonalization and all this other shit. So I found some books, and the books encouraged me to keep pushing myself. I was doing stuff for a long time, but my mood was really bad, and I just spent a couple years. I spent about. Okay, so first it was in hell. I couldn't feel emotion. I spent a few months like coming off the Xanax, trying different herbals and all that, and then really dealing with lots of burning skin and all kinds of other stuff, which had nothing to do with the Xanax. In retrospect, I had blamed all my problems on Xanax, and it turned out through much retrospection and research that really didn't have much of an effect. So I came off of that, and then I jumped on to, because I got to a point that I was trying all this stuff, and inositol and all this stuff, and it wasn't working, and I was like just basically gonna off myself because my body felt like it was on fire. I felt like I was being burned with hot coals. And this isn't a long story of chronic pain and chronic somatic symptoms, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. And I just hoped that if I just stayed off the Xanax, if I stayed off the meds, if I ran every day, if I ate healthy, I would just wake up and feel well. Well, that was not the case for me. Everybody's like deficiencies and all that stuff are different, but for me, what it's come into now is just trauma. I have a lot of trauma from my past that I have to work through, and oh wow, that reminds me, I do have a counseling session tomorrow. Or no, Monday. Okay, but I also have an appointment for my company. Okay. I guess things are heating up for me. I gotta get a calendar, get things squared away. Sidebar. So I ended up like going to the doctor, and he threw me on some gabapentin. I was popping some St. John's wort as well, some SJW, and within very short order, a couple weeks, my burning cut in half, eventually disappearing altogether, and I felt really good. I felt slightly manic, still was very foggy, but let's just say about 10 times better than I was feeling. I was able to go on vacation. I was able to enjoy my family. If I hadn't had the gabapentin, I would have probably committed suicide. There's a very good chance that I may have killed myself. And I hate medication, and I think it's a last resort, but I didn't want to be on it. But it also had some of the best memories I've had in the better part of a decade, including my now deceased grandmother. So I was able to just do things I didn't think I'd ever do again. Go out to dinners, go out to karaoke, go out and just do fun things, go to the Sound, go swimming. I felt, like I said, I wasn't 100% by a long shot, but I was so much far advanced from where I was on a pretty low dose of gabapentin. And then I decided to try to come off of the gabapentin. I spent a few years trying natural route again and trying to come off gabapentin. Every time I come lower in dosage, I would things would get really bad for me. So I sort of just, you can go ahead. Kind of, realize that I have issues, and medications aren't the boogeyman all the time. So actually, if you look at Thorazine, you look at the history, I mean, before medications, there was over 10 million people in insane asylums, chained to walls, like getting lobotomies, guys. Okay, think about that. Like, people were getting ice picks shoved in their eyes, literally. They started with ice picks and then eventually created a tool. And they started with full brain lobotomies, but because people were desperate to try to figure out a way out of these insane asylums. And to help these people, and most of them, were schizophrenics or depression, a lot of deep depression and stuff like that. But so what they did was they found a way where they would take an ice pick and they'd hammer it, they'd shock your brain until you were unconscious, and then they ice pick through your eye into your prefrontal cortex and then the other eye. And what it would do is it would cause seizures for a while. Once you healed and the bruising healed, supposedly you were a lot calmer and probably a lot less able to, probably a lot dumber. But tens of thousands of people had that done. So think about how barbaric that was. And it wasn't until 1950 that I believe Thorazine, the first antipsychotic, came out, and that eradicated, or about 90% of the people were released. The insane asylums pretty much went bottom up from that medication, which sort of led to the revolution of pharmaceutical drugs. We are overprescribed for sure, and a lot of the symptomology that we're dealing with doesn't need to be medicated, but certain people that can't function, that are out of reality, that are whatever it is, may need medication as a bridge. That's just my opinion, and for what it's worth. So I'm gonna wrap this up because I'm home now, and but where did I go? Okay. So I wanted to get off of gabapentin, but I stayed on a very low dose. I was very mean. Almost lost my wife. I was angry. I was impatient all the time. I did a lot of research. I found Lamictal, popped on that out of desperation, and the Lamictal, within 2 weeks, made me a new person. Clarity, felt great. My mind slowed down to a point where I could think. I wasn't as mean anymore. I went from like PTSD, yelling at my wife on a trip, just out of control, anxiety, fear, fog, to a complete singing, having a good time, enjoying my life. And yeah, anyways, stress of a move combined with losing my job, and then losing my grandma all sent me way back, and then on top of a physical burnout I had, led me to really bad mental state in which I really kind of spiraled into a point where I was going to have to probably be hospitalized or something. I mean, suicide was definitely on my menu. And then I popped back benzos after 4 years off, and that took care of about 60 to 70% of it and got me back to functioning. So anyway, my opinion, and it's the truth, the people online that are complaining about permanent damage, we don't know them, we don't know what their real issues are, whatever, and you might be one of them, and I'm sorry for you, but some people say gabapentin causes withdrawal. My grandma was on almost 4,000 milligrams, came off cold turkey, was fine. The truth of the matter is that 80 million prescriptions of the stuff a year, 94% have no problems, have minor withdrawal coming off of it, benzos or whatever. The studies show that usage beyond 5 years in excess of 3 milligrams a day can cause small cognitive deficits that do not hinder daily activities. So yeah, I mean, if you have anxiety, you have PTSD, and you take a medication and it helps, and then you never do any of the core work, and you come off the medication, you're going to have withdrawal, temporary, but you're also going to have your old symptoms are going to come back. So anyway, yeah, so now I'm on like 0.75 to 1 milligram of Klonopin a day with my 50 milligrams of Lamictal, yeah, and then some supplements, some fish oils, things like that. And I'm working on my core, I'm working on my mental health, my mind, and all that stuff. So anyway, so yeah, that answered your question about what I'm taking right now and how I feel about meds. Okay, well, God bless. Talk to y'all later.